Hi, Dr. Allison Alford here to give you some quick tips for conflict resolution in the workplace. Maybe you're thinking, all of this information about conflict is well and good, but what do I actually do when I'm confronted with a conflict situation in the workplace? So today I'll talk about two tools that you can use to deal with and manage conflict with the goal of conflict resolution in the workplace. So the first thing that happens is sometimes we are confronted uh, either in a conversation or in a meeting by something unexpected. It could be someone saying, where is that report? Or it could be someone saying, well, if these things would get done, then I wouldn't have to do them myself. And it could be a statement, or it could be a question, or it could be outright someone blaming you. Well, you didn't do your part, so now all of the rest of us have to take a extra hours on the job. Okay, so these particular types of statements all come with aggressive words or tone. Now, you could respond with an aggressive tone of your own. Well, I didn't drop the ball. It wasn't my fault that everybody flaked out. Or sometimes people use a tone that they believe to be quiet and sincere, but is actually kind of patronizing. Well, why is it not done? And it's not a genuine question. It can be patronizing. And it comes across even as gaslighting. Okay, so gaslighting is a term that means when you're trying to sow seeds of doubt in the other person to indicate that maybe they're being ridiculous or crazy. We don't like it when people do it to us, and we don't want to do it to them. So, what can you do instead? Well, my first tip or tool is to ask questions. So, asking questions means that instead of responding in an accusatory way, or instead of being panicked and uncertain what to say at all, you want to think of and frame a genuine question. So, one kind of question that I fall back on might be, well, how did that happen? Or, um, what do you think about that? Or, what can we do now? Is a great team building question. So questions often put the put the onus back onto the other person, and then the other person may begin explaining things. There's a couple of things that could happen. One, that other person may never have really been uh, attempting to start a conflict, and their tone was just weird or off. But when you ask them a question and he or she begins explaining, you'll see he or she isn't mad, and you'll be very glad that you didn't jump into an argument. The second thing that can happen is that when the other person is asked questions and they see that you're genuinely interested and want to know, then they often reveal the real motivation behind their poor tone, which could be anxiety or anger or fatigue. And a lot of times it's fear that they are in trouble, that they'll be in trouble, that they'll have a difficulty with a client, or ultimately lose their job, or that they'll be embarrassed. So when we know the motivations behind why someone is addressing us in the poor manner, we can begin to address this person in a way that can diffuse or dissolve conflict rather than building conflict. Now, it takes more work, and it takes being the bigger person. But if you practice using questions, then you won't be the one stuck saying these big grievous statements with a negative tone. Instead, either the other person will reveal their motivation, or he or she will dig a hole for him or herself, and you will be able to stay a little bit above it. Now, the goal is not to win while the other person digs a hole, so that you can stand above them and say, look how dirty you are. You've dug yourself into a hole. The goal, and what we always have to remember, especially in the workplace, is to work well together as a team in order to achieve, in order to continue growing our business and succeeding personally and as a team. Okay, so what's the second tip? So the second tip that I have for you is when you know that conflict situations will be coming in. Now, maybe there are emails that you get every once in a while that somebody goes on the attack. It could be the same somebody. It's somebody in the office who goes on the attack about um, dis, disorganized activities or events or something that wasn't done on time. It could be a client who continues to send you emails or calls you on the phone and blows up at you. Even if you don't know exactly who will be calling or when it will come, if you have these recurring conflict situations that come up again and again, and you want to work to resolve them, then one of the best things that you can do is make yourself some notes. When you feel calm and level headed, you need to write some note cards. So get yourself a pack of note cards and write down some questions that you can ask and some calm responses that avoid the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Okay. And you want to be able to reach for these cards in the moment that you need them. So if that means taping them to your screen, your computer screen, to the inside of your car, if you take these calls in the car, then do so. The goal is to be able to address the communication of the other person without inflaming it anymore, but not being worried or nervous that you have no tools at your disposal, because you do. So think about your daily life, think about your workplace, and what kinds of conflicts come up again and again. How can you prepare or practice for those and be ready the next time one comes? Yes, they're all slightly different from one another, but if you know that something is coming, the very best thing that you can do is to be prepared. So when we have tips and tools at our disposal, we feel more confident pursuing conflict resolution. And conflict resolution is what will help us build a better team and a better workplace. And you can contact me for more information. My email address is drallisonalford at gmail.com, DrAllisonAlford at gmail.com, or you can look up my web address at goodtalkconsulting.com, and that is goodtalkconsulting.com, GOODTALKCONSULTING.com. Thanks.